recording. Here we are. We have the Make-A-Wish filmmaking team, the producers, and the co-lead actors from Make-A-Wish. We've got Josephine and Edward.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just telling them before I started recording that I wish we could have shown this in the theaters, because if there was 60, 70, 80 people sitting in the theater, when Make-A-Wish ends, you were gonna get to hear all the audience reactions to the humor, to gore, to everything. It would have been such a great experience, because I mean, your film is so fun. It's fun and it's smart and it's over the top in all the right ways. So man, crowds love a thing. You know, it's like, honestly, watching a melodrama online or in the theater, there's not as big a difference, I think, as with this. So yes, I don't mean to rub it in about the pandemic, but I'm just saying, I wish you could have heard the applause for your film.
We'll just play some fake applause.
It's like, yay.
Yeah, I know. Someone told me I should have like an applause box and hit a button.
Yeah.
Like one of those cheesy, like the guy on CNBC. But anyhow. So I guess if we were in the theater and you were sitting on the stage, easily one of the first questions that would have come from the audience when a hand went up is how this film came together. And I believe it was written by the director, right?
It was written by Ivan Sang, the writer who also co-wrote the script for the short. But once we brought, I guess, okay, from the beginning, it was that I had read the script from Ivan years prior, and I really liked the script. It kind of spoke to me, like how our relationship is in real life here, and I really needed new demo reel footage. So I asked Ivan, hey, can I use this to just make a little thing? And he was like, yeah, that's totally fine. But then somehow it just kind of blew out of the water once Edward here reached out to Din Tai, our director, and was like, hey, can you just help us shoot this so it doesn't look so crappy when we shoot it at home? And then it became this whole thing with like an actual production, a crew, and a set. And we're like, oh, this is no longer just demo reel footage. And once Din was on board, he was like, hey, I kind of want to tweak the script. Let's make it even more. So he and Ivan rewrote the thing, and that's why it became what it is today. It's still pretty close to what happened before. He just added a lot more to give it more depth, and make it not just kind of like a sketch. It made it more into something that could possibly go into like a full feature or like a series or anything. But yeah, that was what happened, I guess, with our short.
Yep.
That's cool. So it's actually pretty organic. It started, like you use the words, it started almost like a sketch for you just to use for a reel.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you brought in the right people, it really blossomed, and absolutely it's a film for sure. And please give him our compliments. Great direction. The film looks fantastic. All the technical stuff is great. So they did really well. So you two decided to play the leads right from the get-go?
Yes, because we were very vain, and we wanted more highlights on ourselves as Asian Americans, just a lot of different things. Just obviously for me, I was like, well, I need more demo reel footage, so this is great. And then initially the script, the his character was Eddie. So we're like, was this written about us? And then Ivan's like, no, I wrote this before I met you guys. And we're like, yeah, okay, sure. But then just the parameters he had set for himself as well was that he wanted it to be as low budget as possible, because I think for his writing prompt, whatever it was he was doing was like, I want to use as little actors as possible in as small a space as possible to see what I can do with it. And so that's what he did. And that's why we thought it would be perfect for the demo reel footage, because we thought we wouldn't need that much stuff to go into it. But yeah, and then in terms of casting, Roman Moretti, our third actor.
Roman Moretti came around because I did a play with him, and I found him to be the most consummate, awesome professional actor. And when I told him about this idea, he was immediately down for it. He was like, oh, cool, I get to be tied up in a chair. I get to be this really evil douchey guy? And I'm like, yeah, if you don't mind. He's like, yes. And yeah, he went all in for it. And so he was our MVP champion in terms of on the day of the shoot, just being so cool about like, hey, you're, because of the makeup on his chest that he had to be half naked for all of the shoot.
Yeah.
And so,
and it wasn't like we could shoot around him really. I mean, some of the shots obviously, but most of it was like, no, you're in the wide shot. I kind of touch you. We're going around you the whole time. So he had to be attached to that chair for like 12 hours.
So yeah, 10 to 12 hours. So Roman Moretti totally came through in terms of being the essential piece to making this work, in terms of like why Freddie has the justification to do what he did. Roman delivered on that aspect.
And you kind of gave away, I think, one of the other standard questions. So was this a one-day shoot?
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
you're saying
it was.
10 to 12 hours he's in the chair, so he didn't come back another day.
He didn't. No. Yeah, we just did that in one day. That's how we planned it. Since, I mean, I guess our budgetary restrictions.
That being said, even though it was one day and 10 to 12 hours, it was extremely efficient. I think it helped that we had we also had a third producer, Ann Foster, who definitely oversaw the day of the operation and told us, okay, you guys are no longer producers on this day. You are just actors. Don't worry about any of the little details. That's my job now. And so she was essential in terms of making sure everything ran smooth, as well as our first AD. Moving along just like clockwork.
Yeah.
And so
And the crew was amazing because they had all worked together as well before, and they were part of like Din's team, and so everyone knew what to do, and it was just amazing.
Speaking of cinematography in terms of looking good, Ruben Steinberg has worked with Din before, and he is a professional DP who has worked on features and TV series. So we were very, very lucky to have someone of his stature, as well as the crew that we had. We were able to pay everyone, but not at the daily rate that they were used to. That's only because Din was on board. He was just gung-ho about it. And so it was just great to have a crew that were extremely professional. They worked on much, much bigger things, but it was good to have them.
Yeah, I mean, my reaction was solely based on the fact that it doesn't look like a get it done in one day kind of film. I mean, the cinema, like you mentioned, the cinematography, the lighting, it doesn't look like corners were cut at all. So like I'm backing you up. Bravo to your crew. Bravo to your director. I think they did, like, it's technically, it looks great. So if you told me, we took our time and made sure every shot looked perfect and this and that, I would have believed you,
We shot for 3 months. It took a while for this, but
a page a day for
yeah,
a week and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and was this absolutely as actors, I assume this was a really good time for you.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of the roles that normally we might get auditions for, or just other things that we normally see, it's really stereotypical type of things, and so that's why this script also was just even better, because it was something that we normally wouldn't do, and then you really get to push the boundaries of being crazy and just going all out. So that's what I really appreciated about this, and why we really wanted to use this script and bring it to life.
It was definitely a dream for mine as well, because I'm a big fan of Korean cinema, and a lot of these Korean movies like Parasite, like Bong Joon-ho's films, they have the characters just go to extreme depths, either comedy or just the dark things that they do. And
yeah, it's just mixing of genres. We're not just stuck doing one thing.
So to alternate back and forth, to do something like that for ourselves was definitely really cool to do.
Yeah, and both your performances are great. And I mean, and Edward, Josephine is absolutely out of this world great in this film. I mean, it's just absolutely probably one would think of you as a scene stealer, but then Edward, you're the nuances that you're covering. We never know if your character's which way he's gonna go, if he's gonna. We don't know what he's gonna do. and I'm sure, and it's done perfectly. So I mean, that is some pretty subtle acting, some pretty, sometimes that's even harder than, you know, going over the top.
Thank you. I think we've definitely had feedback where there was one person I remember who was concerned that it was going to follow the stereotype of the psychotic girlfriend or the fiance or the wife, and then the husband's like, "I'm the normal guy," but then they appreciated by the end that they met at the same plane. It was they met together, so it wasn't just one was, oh, the crazy one. They're like, no, they're both crazy. Like they both deserve each other.
Do they?
Yeah, and he's willing. He's yeah, he's on this journey now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does help too that we had multiple rehearsal periods before the shoot with Din, Roman, and also we had Ivan there, so he could see how the script was working for us and just what they could tweak to make it play better off our tongues or not. And then just, so we definitely experimented with a lot of different directions of how it would work. And then on the day of the shoot, we still did multiple takes, obviously, but we were able to get most of it out of our system, so we didn't have to worry about, does this work? I don't know. Like, no, we know which one works. We're going to do take 1, 2, 3, the different kinds, and it'd be great. And I think that definitely helped in how easily that day flowed by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that clearly, yeah, and the rehearsal and sounds like you basically kind of workshopped it for a little while.
Yeah.
That really shows. That really shows in the story and the performances that's why there's levels and depth to this, for sure. Good decision making.
Yeah, it was all the producers. Yes.
Yeah. The producers are. No one can doubt the importance of the producers.
Yeah, it was
so you mentioned making this a longer piece. Is that something that's going to happen?
We don't know, because especially in the times we're in right now, we would like to, but I guess it just depends how it goes forth and where the outcomes are from the film festivals and just everyone's schedules, because that was another big hurdle we had to go through when we were trying to find like the shoot dates, because we had gone through a few different crews actually in the beginning, because when we were like, we wanted to shoot this specific day and then something came up and then, you know, so that's why we're like, we don't know if we can get everyone on board again to make this into more what we want, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's just it's a very interesting time to be thinking of anything to make, especially if you're going to try to go bigger or like a feature or a series or something like that. In this pandemic time where everything is just chaotic right now, so it's definitely there in our minds. But I think right now our biggest priority is, will we survive this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And if not, you can just form a bubble somewhere and stay creative.
That's true.
Yeah, we could just end up shooting the stuff on our camera phones like we initially wanted. You just see everything go downhill from there. Like, whoa, this is
it's like, it looks so good. Now it looks like some cheap budget made.
I know. The shitty sequels that come in.
Yes.
Well, excellent. Well, I know you mentioned quite a few people contributed to this. Before we run out of time, is there anyone else and editors and post people? I mean, it looks like it cut together really well.
Oh man, there's a lot. Okay, so in terms of editors, Cullen, Bruce, and Kelly Nichols. Kelly Nichols provided a first version of it, but she unfortunately had to go to another gig. But she laid the groundwork for Cullen to finish it. And Cullen, I worked before in a previous project, and he is a master of dark comedy. And so it helped having his timing and sense of like where things went. And so it was kind of like watching a magician do his thing. And then went from a film that were like, oh, do we even have a film, to like, there it is, that's the film. And then crediting as well as Venus Leon, who did a great job, the sound design, making sure everything sounded good in terms of the post-production aspect, as well as Blenda Lau, who was our composer, who we told her it had to be subtle and creepy, but not overbearing, not like overwhelming what was happening in the action. And so she was excellent taking that direction, and as well as very creative composers. And then finally, our poster design, Melissa S., who created this crazy boxcar children-like design that looks straight from the 80s, but with acid. She definitely provided that. It was like, that's it. That's our crazy ass film right there.
For sure. And by the way, on the film festival side, like I'll tell you, like part of me wanted to like slip it under the judges' noses as a comedy too. Like you submit it as horror, but I mean it's one of the funniest films this year too. So I think I think you made something truly great.
We definitely did not initially see this as a horror in any way, shape, or form. We saw it as just as a dark comedy, but one of the first film festivals that we had submitted to, they provided some feedback for us, and they were like, "This is a great horror genre," and it's, oh my god, and we're just like, oh, we never thought of this as horror. And so we tried submitting to other horror festivals, and it seemed to
It latched on quickly.
Yeah, it vibed really well with them. So that, which was great. But the funny thing is I hate horror and I don't like scary things. And so now we're like watching all these horror film festivals and I'm like, help. This is like the worst timeline continuing because it's
So she's
like,
happier when we're just in like a comedy block. She's like, oh good, there's like other things. It's lighthearted fare, and then we have our darker fare. But then if we're in a horror genre, we're like, oh, we're in some really messed up people.
Yep. I mean, they're all amazing short films, but it's just now years of my life just gone because we're just sitting, like, oh my god, why did we do this to ourselves? But
For sure. Well, I think now I'm blanking. I can't keep track of everything, but I think you're going to be really happy with the block you're in for at our festival.
Yes.
So knock on wood. All right. Well, I'm so sorry I have to run, but I see that the person who for 8 p.m. is already arrived, so I should not make him wait. And thank you so much for submitting your film. It kicks ass. Let everyone who contributed to it know that it was very beloved by our juries.
That is amazing to hear.
Yes.
And thank you so much for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And it was a pleasure. I was going to say something about politics, but forget it. Gotta go.
Votes. I don't know. This by the time
this come out?
well, by the time we watch,
so people don't think we're insane. Well, this actually won't even be viewable for 2 weeks. So,
Right. Anarchy.
We're talking the night before the election. So,
okay.
All right. Sorry, I have to run. Otherwise,
all
I'll
right.
chat all night. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much again.
Thanks.